everyone, it is Roy from EC United and Gabe is here as well. Say hi.
Hello and welcome back.
We have been watching the first dress rehearsals and I watched it from the press center and you watched it from the arena. How was the atmosphere like?
Well, let me tell you, firstly, the arena is so stunning. We have, in terms of in-arena production for the experience in the room, one of the best lighting setups, one of the best screen setups that I have ever seen at Eurovision, if not the very best. For those of you who are attending shows, it's a really, really special experience in there, and I can't wait for you to see it tomorrow night, or on Thursday, or Saturday, or Tuesday, or Wednesday. Any of the next 6 days, okay? It's been a long day already.
And I was in a press center that's basically just black curtains. Anyways, we are here to discuss all of the performances of semi-final 1 because we could finally see them in full with all the camera angles, especially like I could see them on the big screen. You were in the arena, so we have both a little bit of a different perspective on the entire thing. So we're gonna go through all of the countries, just name quickly what we liked the most and what we didn't like as much, and yeah, then just name our favorites. I think that's a good idea.
Sounds good.
Starting off with Cyprus, how was it?
I've got to say, I said a few weeks before the contest that this one was a big unknown because Celia is young. She doesn't have a massive amount of experience because you can't have much experience at 17. You haven't had the time to do it. Yeah. Unfortunately, the elements of this song which are required to make it work, so the dance break and the moves that she herself has been choreographed to do, it's not working for me at the moment. She's a bit... During the dance break, it's a little bit static. It doesn't feel as dynamic as some of the better examples we've seen in recent years. And the dance moves themselves are a little silly. She does sort of this thing, which doesn't work. And the unfortunate thing is, it's too late to change it now, pretty much. I doubt we're going to get any different dance moves from what we have. In addition, the vocals, even in the arena, didn't sound 100% on. Maybe it was just a effect of the room. Sometimes rooms make things sound slightly weird, but for me right now it's just not there, and I think Cyprus is in trouble. What about you?
Interesting, because I think that it was actually kind of cool to see all the things they do on the floor with this song. Like you have some water rippling effects whenever they do the dances, and like whenever she steps to the side or the dancers do, you have like a water effect coming out of it. I think it looked pretty cool actually, and towards the ending the colors changed from like the turquoise towards red. I think that's pretty effective as well. I do still worry because it's quite dark and I'm not sure if the darkness is a really good idea for a song like this. But it wasn't as bad as I expected maybe. It wasn't amazing, I wasn't wowed by it, and it's a decent start.
At the same time, I think there's something in there that says a lot, which is that you said it wasn't as bad as I expected, which is kind of condemnation by faint praise. So I still think the problem is maybe the ceiling for this wasn't as high as we may have once thought, and we're now seeing the reality of it borne out. Unfortunately, I think they're in big, big trouble, and I don't think it's going to be a good night tomorrow for Cyprus.
I don't know about that yet. We need to move on to Serbia though, who was after that, and I think this looked really cool as well. Like you have this nice camera shot that went through the middle box and it went down towards her in the beginning. Like she's sitting on that rock, like really demanding your attention. There's some mysteriousness going on. I really like how it opens up towards more of the purple tones from the song towards the ending. There's like a big flower in the background as well. Yes. I think it overall looked pretty cool. Vocally it wasn't maybe perfect, but it was pretty good still. Like it's a good way to be woken up from Cyprus. That's a bit of a weird thing to say because it's a ballad, but I think it was a pretty decent performance. What do you think?
I think it's definitely totally contrasting to Cyprus, and it would have played to Serbia's favour no matter whether Cyprus was strong or not. I think obviously we should put an asterisk on this because I should have said it for Cyprus as well. This was a rehearsal. There's no guarantee that they're going all out. In fact, if they are going all out, it's probably not a great idea. You want to hold back in rehearsals to make sure you've saved your best for the full performance. With that in mind, I did think the way they lit Serbia's performance, they brought an auxiliary set of lights on stage just behind the mountain, which you'll all see tomorrow. These lights are pointing upwards, and it creates this really gorgeous effect. I love the heartbeat of the lights at the end. And for those of you who watched the national final performance, we've already seen a version of this, so if you want an idea of how it's going to look at the very end, go and watch that. Overall, I think it's strong, it's emotional, it's very calming, and it's exactly the sort of contrast you need after Cyprus. I think it's really going to stand out, and I'm optimistic at the moment.
Yeah, I'm optimistic as well, actually. Now, moving on to Lithuania, how was that in the arena? Because it's like a club banger, right?
So it's actually interesting because I think a lot of the camera work and so on that really makes this performance special. I did find, maybe as somebody who's watched this performance a lot, in the arena I really missed it. Like, it's the kind of performance I would have really loved to see through the screen. Vocally was fine, all the steps were on point, the song was really strong, it was noticeable. I felt so much more kind of energized by this. And so it kind of really felt that, okay, now I've had the banger to get the show going. And I do really wonder whether they should have swapped Cyprus and Lithuania. I would have opened the show with this. Really strong performance. The staging is very similar to what we've seen before in the national final, so not too many surprises there, but they didn't need to mess with it because it was already a great package and it was already qualifying.
I think the biggest thing for this, for me, is that they worked on the lighting a lot more. Like, you can see Sylvester a lot better. I think a lot of people have pointed that out as well in the national final, that it was quite dark. And I think in the beginning it is still very dark and mysterious, but throughout the song, like, it gets a bit more bright, like, you can see him a lot better and you can see a bit more of his personality, and I think that's pretty well done. Like, it's just a great upgrade of what they already had, basically. And, like, don't change what's not needed to be changed, right? Never change the winning team, that's what it's going to.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this was very much a case of if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
We're great with our metaphors today.
If it ain't fix it, don't broke. Yeah, no, and all they needed to do was tinker around the edges, like you say, little things like lighting, alter the costume slightly, but keep the core concept. Yeah. So they've made the right decision, and it's going to pay off.
Talking about a song that is definitely not got the same concept anymore, wow, Ireland. This was, like, I think the entire press center, which, to be fair, there wasn't that many people because most people were in the arena. There were audible gasps at least 4 or 5 times during the song. There are so many cool moments in this. Like, you start off, the clip we've already seen online. Then there's like a little dance with the demon. Then we go back to Bambi doing their thing. And the second chorus, there's like a ballet dance. So it's like a little bit of a different dance. Like, it feels like they're telling a different story on stage, which looks really, really cool. Then towards the ending, and this is really epic, the candles that are there are lifted up, and there's a fight between the demon and Bambi. And I think that is so effectively done. Because in the ending, like, you have basically the ending beats of it, like, they stamp down on the demon and it's like defeated, and it looks so, so good. I could talk hours on this staging. It looked incredible. What do you think? This
was one of the most exhilarating rehearsal performances I have ever seen in Eurovision, and I've been watching rehearsals as part of press for ESC United for 4 years now, and I don't think anything has been like as incredible as that in terms of, you know, coming out of the blue, slapping you in the face.
Hey.
Like, there we go.
Coming out of the blue.
I gotta say, you know, Bambi is somebody who really knows exactly what they want. When it comes to the performance, they have a really clear vision, and I think it really comes through. Every single thing about this is refined. They have thought about every last detail. Yeah. You can tell that it's the work of someone who is almost obsessive in their pursuit of perfection. And it pays off, because this was just, it was astonishing. Like in the press center in the arena, when Bambi did the outfit change.
Oh right, I forgot about it. Mention that even.
When Bambi did their outfit change, there was like this this sort of sharp intake of breath, and I think everyone was stunned. The completely rapturous response. I've never been so excited by the improvement. When you think back to that tiny stage in the Late Late Show with no resources and no budget, what Ireland have done, what Bambi has done, is absolutely incredible, and I am so, so proud of them. Irish fans have been waiting years for this. This could win the semi-final, and I don't think that's being hyperbolic. By the time this video is out, the press poll will probably be live, and it wouldn't surprise me to see Ireland winning that, or at the very least coming in the top 2. Ireland could win this semi-final. Now I've seen that. Absolutely stunning.
Strong words. And the outfit change is like going from their black outfit basically to an outfit that shows a trans flag, which is really cool. We need to move on though, even though we want to talk hours for Ireland.
So many more to do.
Ukraine was up next. What do you think of it?
So one thing that wasn't visible on the press feed is that during this rehearsal, when Aliona comes to the stage, which isn't until quite late into the performance, because Aliona, she only comes onto stage once it's her time to sing. Aliona actually tripped over, fell flat on her face on the stage. She scrambled up, ran across the stage, grabbed her mic, got to her mark, and still managed to start on time.
What a professional.
Absolutely, what a professional. This was really, really beautifully done. There's some really gorgeous visuals. I don't know if I'm missing something, but I can't see what takes it from being a contender to being a winner. Like, I can see it coming maybe 6th, 5th, 4th, but it lacks the arc, I think, that the sort of story arc that a Eurovision winner needs. And as a result, it just kind of loses me somewhere. It's lovely, it's nice while it's there, but then it just kind of stops. I think it's not helped by the fact that Jerry is now doing the higher vocal part in an earlier chorus, which means you have even less impact left over for the final one. That's a problem. It's visually gorgeous. There's some stunning effects on the stage floor, but I'm just not seeing it right now. I feel like it's almost there, but just not quite together as a winning package.
Yeah, I was quite surprised with this one because I thought the clip that we saw online was going to be the end of the song. Like, her standing on that rock is such an epic ending to a song, but it was actually the first chorus, and I was a bit surprised by that. And then we moved towards Aliona. For some reason, they decided to have like an earthquake effect on the entire rap verse, which was so unnecessary for me, and I was quite disappointed by it because that's my favorite part of the song, and it kind of distracts from it in a way because we don't see rap that often. It doesn't need that earthquake effect to really be on there. And I will say the ending picture is really striking. Like, they lay down on the ground and they're like surrounded with women on the LED floor, which is a really cool shot. I don't know, I was a little disappointed with Ukraine. Maybe they put the bar too high. Ukraine always puts the bar high, but maybe that's why I'm like, I don't know this year.
I think there is a thing about really high expectations, and I think I did have really high expectations for this because I think the song it's been clear from the moment it was selected it was going to be a contender potentially to win the contest. It's clearly really, really strong. I just don't think they've quite made that step, and I would have. Maybe there's still time to make some small changes. It's easy enough to get rid of that earthquake effect, for example. But right now, I'm not convinced yet. I need to see something that is going to make me go, okay, yeah, this can win Eurovision. Yeah. I haven't yet. I could be wrong, but that's how I feel at the moment.
Poland was next, and we saw the clip, of course, with the Black Tower creature kind of dancing. It then was revealed in the second chorus that there's also a white creature that's also a tower dancing. It then was revealed that also, it was basically like a repetition of the first part of the song. Then for the third chorus, there's also a red chess piece figure. And then like she climbs up the tower where she ends, and then also the red creature is also on the tower, and there's horses.
There's a lot going on here.
There's so much going on, and I'm like, is this really necessary for such a song? Like, it looks pretty good. Like, I think the visuals on its own are pretty cool. Was it necessary? I don't know. Is it really in trouble for non-qualification? I don't really think so either. But I wonder if they could have done it, like, a little more classy. Like, it feels a bit too gimmicky for me, maybe. But I think, yeah, it was a cool dance moment. There were cool shots and stuff, but I don't know. I'm just a little bit hit or miss with Poland. What are you?
I think this is, we've seen a few cases in recent years of Poland maybe taking a more is more approach. And I think they've got that problem here too. It felt messy, it felt unfocused. I found myself not really knowing where to look quite a lot. I personally don't really like the shot on the floor with the horse. Yeah. I think, you know, some people might really get on board with that, but I don't think it works as well as Ukraine's floor shot, for example. And obviously that's immediately before, so people are going to compare them in this context. It's going to qualify. I think it's a strong enough song that it'll go through, but I don't think it's going to be particularly comfortable. I think it's going to be one of the lower examples. Like I said, I didn't really know where to look. There's question marks from the other rehearsal footage about whether the vocal is going to be perfect as well. That could obviously put Luna in trouble. So it's going through, but I'm disappointed. I had hoped for more, and I'd hoped for a slightly cleaner adaptation of the of the staging from the music video, which they tried to do unsuccessfully.
I'd hope for more, he says. Well, we say that it's too much, but anyways.
You know what I mean. You know what I mean. I'd hope for less, by which I mean more, by which I mean less, by which I mean more. You know what I mean.
We need to move on to Croatia. Rim Tim Tagidim from Baby Lasagna was up next. What did you think of it?
I think I got what I was hoping for. With this, obviously, full disclosure, I'm emotionally invested in the whole Baby Lasagna story. I'm going to do my best to just play it straight down the line and not let my personal biases get involved, but I'm going to declare that now, just so you know. I thought it was really solid in terms of the vocal, the work on stage. I think I was watching this and thinking, I wish I could see the camera angles, because I think on stage, some of the pieces, like you've got the pieces of the instruments and so on, it doesn't feel static, but it does mean that there's a little more heavy lifting needing to be done by the cameras. Now, of course, you'll be able to enlighten me on that as to whether this is a song that's coming fourth, which would be a great result, or a potential winner. So, Roy, tell me.
Now, I think the camera angles are actually pretty interesting for this one. You immediately start the song off with like introducing every band member. Like you can see a little bit of what their persona is, right, basically, because like one of them is like cleaning a little bit, one of them is traveling. You know, the drummer, you have Baby Lasagna as well. I think that worked very effectively. I think in general the cameras are pretty good. I also think it's definitely a rock performance, and what I mean with that is that Baby Lasagna often plays towards the crowd, and like the camera kind of captures that as well. So it seems like it's very a rock performance that you perform towards the crowd and not necessarily towards the camera at times, which is perfectly fine by me. I'm not sure if that's necessarily winner potential, but that's okay. I think visually it's pretty stunning. I think every single time you hit a rim tim tagidim, you see like animals prancing in the background with like neon lights. I think that looks really, really crisp, but really, really good. I think in general his vocals are pretty good as well. Is it good enough to win? I am not yet ready to say yes or no on that. It is good though. Like we might also be influenced because we've already seen the package ones in the national final, of course, and it's definitely a massive step up from there. Oh, Let's say it like that. So Croatian fans, don't be worried. It's not bad at all. I'm just not sure if it's the winner, but that's okay. Like you got a great result.
I think it's difficult for me to say. Like I said, there's things that I wish I could see. You know, I could sort of see camera angles flashing in the corner of my eyes up on the screens, and I'm like, do I look? Do I not? You know. And what was really noticeable, his charisma really shone through on stage. I think the crowd are really going to get into it, and I think having the crowd there will help. The key thing is he has to stay calm. He has to get the marks right. He has to look into the cameras. He has to make sure he's performing to the cameras. It is a television show. I did notice when I looked up once, there was a moment where maybe he turned slightly to the wrong way or something, because there was sort of like a shot of the back of his head. That said, as with the other performances, this is what rehearsals are for. You catch out these little things that are wrong, you then don't make the mistake in the live show. Yeah. So I think lots of reasons to be optimistic, but as is the way with this edition as a whole, it's way too early to call. Yeah. It's in the mix. Who knows whether it'll end up going the way we think it will.
Up next was Iceland. Hera Björk with Scared of Heights. Yeah, this was a performance. She starts on the platform like you're used to from the national final. Then she, after the first chorus, comes down it. The lighting changes a little bit. There's some dancers.
Yes, and they do this. They do a little.
All right, and then in the second chorus, like there's shadows on the backdrop as well, doing the exact same dances as what Hera is doing. Then she gets back onto the platform, which, drum rolls, raises to new heights.
Wow.
I made that pun on Twitter as well.
Well done.
Yeah, it's a performance. What do you think?
I mean, Hera is a great singer. Je ne sais quoi is a fantastic memory for Eurovision fans, and it will continue to be after this contest. Unfortunately, the performance is not particularly captivating. It's sung well, but that's about the limit. Like, Hera obviously was always going to sing it well. That was the thing that was never in doubt, but the song is not strong enough, and it's difficult to stage a song like this in a way that would make it interesting. There wasn't much that they could do to put it in contention, and they've not done that. So unfortunately, this one is the firmest no, I think, in terms of qualification for the final. Really didn't get me going, I'm afraid.
I'm afraid I have to agree. I think we have to hurry up a little bit.
Yes.
Slovenia was up next. How was it in the arena?
Well, she obviously, her vocal, again, really excellent. It was quite striking, but because of the way it's done, it's quite a small package in the arena. It's confined into a very small space for most of the time.
Yeah.
That means that in the arena, it doesn't quite grab me in the way that I think it would on screen.
Yeah.
So what I'm hesitant to say in terms of is it going to qualify, is it going to not, because I feel like I'm missing, with this one probably more than any other, I'm missing part of the picture.
Right. I can definitely confirm that, because with the camera angles it was a lot different, I think, than in the arena, because they play very effectively off the fact that she's like a very striking figure. She looks into the camera very, very, very good. And I think especially in the beginning it's like a really epic, quaint beginning, and it breaks open more and more and more. I think the dances make sense in a way. I do wish the ending was a little bit more epic, a little bit more out there. It's maybe a bit too bright, like people pointed out, because you obviously saw that rehearsal clip. That was what mostly the people were pointing out. I do think it is a lot better than people received it in here, because like not many people reacted to it, and I quite liked it. Yeah, I don't know. I was quite impressed by it.
I will say that it's a little when she switches to the high notes in the final chorus. The moment she does it feels a bit odd. It feels like suddenly we jump, whereas I think maybe they could have reworked that chorus slightly to make it feel more natural. She still sounds great, but I wonder whether people are going to hear that and they're sort of going to go, oh, that's suddenly changed. So I don't know how I feel about it right now. I'm going to see it again later tonight. I'm going to be in the arena, so maybe my opinion will be changing, but right now it's just missing something for me. It's lacking that little bit of magic that I was hoping for.
Next, Finland. Basically, national final performance, but there is a lot more clever ways that they kind of hide his, crotch section, because that's the entire funny shtick about this performance. Like, he's not wearing any pants, and we're trying to hide it as much as we can, and then, oh wow, those pants are coming down, and there's fireworks from the pants. How cool! They have some really clever ways of doing that. Like, there's a camera in the way. Like, they literally have one of the cameramans purposely being on stage to hide his crotch section. I thought that was pretty funny. You have like a puff of smoke hiding it. You have like one of the light bulbs hiding it as well. I think that's done pretty well. The issue with this performance, and this, we might disagree on this because you think it might be holding back. I think it's a safety concern. When he spirals around with those flares and the pyros, he has to hold them straight up because this stage is quite small. So if he were to twirl them around, he would probably burn a lot of people who are in the crowd. And I think that isn't the best image for Eurovision. So yeah, it doesn't look as epic as in the national final, the ending, but I think overall it's a cool improvement.
Now, one thing you won't see on TV and you won't have seen in the press centre is that this performance, just before the pants come down, a carpet is rolled out beneath his feet. It looks like a fireproof carpet of some sort. So there's clearly a safety concern there. I think the thing is with this, it's silly, it's crass, it's ridiculous, and I like it. I think it's funny. I just think it's fun and enjoyable and silly, and I think people will either think like me or they'll go, I hate it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people will watch this and think that was the worst thing I've ever seen. But I think a lot of people will, like me, go, oh, that was great fun. And because of that, I'm optimistic for them. I think I've gotten what I expected. I think they were clearly holding back. Windows 95 man, I think that voice he does is quite rough on his vocal cords, that kind of, raspy kind of thing. So he was clearly going a bit quieter, which we saw in the previous rehearsal footage as well. This one, look out for it because it's going to come alive on the night. I hope they can maybe do something about the holding the pants, flares, whatever you want to call them, still. Hopefully they can jiggle them around a little bit. But for now, I've gotten what I expected, and that was fun, and I'm happy about it.
Cool. Next, Moldova. What do you think?
Moldova. They needed to change the staging concept. They acknowledged that. They've done that, but it's not better. It's still, static. It's still empty, it's still not qualifying, the song's not strong enough. Again, this is a similar story to here. Natalia Barbu is an incredible vocalist, but her talents aren't being used to full effect by this song, in my opinion. I think the staging is, it's a Eurovision equivalent of a budget staging. No props, no pyro, no nothing. And I understand that because Moldova doesn't have a huge amount of money to play with. Usually they're good at getting creative and elevating with the staging. They've just not done that this year. So unfortunately for me, I struggled to focus on it. I struggled to engage with it. And I think the same is going to happen on TV tomorrow night.
I pretty much echo what you say. Like the visuals on its own are pretty stunning. Like there's a lot of fish, there's a lot of butterflies, there's a lot of sparrows, I think, something like that going around. It's very nature-esque, but like very in gold and in purple and stuff. But it doesn't really do much. Like it's still very empty, and it just doesn't fill the stage. And I think, yeah, Moldova. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Next was Azerbaijan. Interesting, I would say. I expected a different kind of staging. It is very futuristic. It's very black and dark, and it's like glittery. It's got like diamonds in there and stuff. Not necessarily what I expected. I'm on the fence. I need to have a bit more time to really process what I've seen and whether I like it or not. I think it's good, it's classy, but I'm not sure if it fits the song perfectly. What do you think?
I think I struggle with a lot of elements of this. I think it's. I don't think the song is particularly strong. I think it's a little too slow, a little too dawdling for me. I also think that the staging. It kind of suffers a similar problem as Moldova in that it's very slow, it's very static, and I think that's going to lose people. I actually think having these two back to back is a bit of an odd producer choice. I would have swapped this in Australia, so at least people had a little bit more, whoosh in between the two. Sadly, I think, sadly for Azerbaijan, I think this one is going to suffer the same fate as Moldova. I just think it feels a bit like they phoned it in the same way Moldova have, and as a result you've got a package which doesn't really feel competitive. Obviously vocals are good, but the song and the staging is just not strong enough. It's just not interesting enough. Doesn't grab you.
Yeah, I don't know. I still need to think about it a bit more because I quite like the song and I want it to be good. So maybe that's the reason why. Next up, Australia. What do you think?
I was hopeful for Australia. I think some of the clips and stuff I'd seen made me go, oh, there might be something interesting in here, if you tighten it up. Unfortunately, I don't want to be too negative about it. I know that the last couple of songs have been a bit negative, and I want to try and say something positive about everyone, at least in some way. Zachariah Fielding's vocals are really stunning. There's a slightly cool effect where Michael turns his piano around with the camera, which is quite fun, very camp. I think the song, a lot of the problems I had with the song are still there. I do like the didgeridoo in the bridge, but I think the way to make this competitive was to massively amp up the amount that element of the performance. That's the strongest thing. We don't have that, and the staging is just it's a little messy, a little bitty, a little, sort of, we're doing a bit of this and a bit of that, much like the song, and as a result it's disjointed and it doesn't come together in the way I wanted it to.
Yeah, for me maybe it was that there is like no crowd at the moment, but it felt really empty, and especially in the ending you have a lot of far out shots. I don't know, I really question the camera angles. I still think that there's a lot of people at home be like, ooh, didgeridoo, I like it, I really like that. And I also think that Zachariah has not been captured in how epic he can be. He's got so many charismatic looks, but it's I don't know, it just doesn't capture what they are as a group. It doesn't fully capture the essence of the song. It's not epic enough to really stand out, and it's okay. Is okay enough? I don't know. So next up was Portugal, and I actually think this is a really effective staging. Like they have black and white coloring only, really. The dancers wear like these masks, and they move quite frantically, but all the time they're very much focused on Yolanda, and I think that is very effectively done. Like you see stuff happening around it, but the camera is very focused on her. And I think that's very effective because the song is very intimate. That intimacy is really amplified by them lowering the middle box down. It creates like a nice framing in which they are dancing and singing. And I think that looks really, really good. It's black and white, and that's all it really needs. It's simple, it's slick, it's clean, really, really good. What do you think?
I think I agree. I'm feeling a lot better about this the more I see it. I was a big fan of this song before this week, but it was very much in that group of songs that people were not sure about whether it was going to qualify. They did the right thing by keeping faith with the national final staging concept. So if you're wondering what it's going to look like tomorrow, that's the place to start if you want to get a sort of preview. And utilise the stage features fairly effectively. I think we're following the arc where Portugal shows that they're good at adapting, and they're good at when it comes to the actual contest, maximising the potential that their song has. Yolanda sounds excellent, which is interesting because she was maybe holding back a tiny bit tonight just to rest her voice. Obviously, she'll be on that stage again in a few hours' time. So I was really impressed. Everything I saw made me encouraged. And I think, personally, I think it's the best big note of the edition. Really natural sounding, really, really powerful. Her voice is excellent. And the ring light has just died. So we will continue.
We're in the dark now. Luxembourg is next.
We're back.
Luxembourg was next. What do you think of it?
So it's interesting how a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to the dancing is not put on Tally, but rather on the dancers. Tally is mobile, but not doing as much, which is maybe a recognition, and I don't mean this in a negative way, I think a recognition in the staging that maybe she's not able to quite do the exact same steps that they can, which is fine. That happens to a lot of people, and it's about how you adapt around that. I actually think they've done that quite well. The ring light has given up. I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah, we're just going to keep going.
So I think they've adapted it well to this stage. I think the concept is better than the national final.
Yeah.
The outfits they're wearing are smarter. I think that weird leather, BDSM kind of vibe they had in the national final just didn't fit the song at all. This does a little bit more. It's a little lighter. It's a little friendlier because this isn't really an angry song.
Yeah.
It's a song that is about self-confidence. It's about believing in yourself. This feels a little closer to that. At the same time, I'm still not a huge fan of it. I feel like maybe it's not quite. I want a little bit more from it. It's a nice song, but it's a little too generic, and I think that is going to make it suffer to a degree. People will enjoy it, but I worry it'll be overlooked in favour of some others in the semi-final.
Interesting, because I think this song really stood out to me today. Because you had the revamp where they changed up the instrumentals after the chorus. Those are staged really effectively. Like it's kind of like a strobe light effect to really make the dancers look like a bit of a shadow. I think those look really, 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 really cool. Like you said, Tali doesn't really dance that much, but it's not necessary either. I think the song stands out because it's also the last one in the running order, and I think that is definitely its advantage over, for example, Cyprus. I would be more confident in saying that Luxembourg has more of a chance than Cyprus at the moment, which is interesting. I didn't think I would say that by just hearing the songs. It's a good performance. The ending is really nice with the fire and the smoke as well. And I overall think that Luxembourg did a pretty decent job. It's not maybe one of my favorites, but it functions pretty well.
I think that's the thing. It's fine. It's fine. It's a decently strong package. I think it does have a good shot at getting through. Yeah. It's not going to pull up any trees in the final. I think that is clear for me at this point. But I think they can be satisfied with what they've done for a first comeback in a long time.
Okay. Now, let's wrap this up. We need to talk about who are our least favorites and who are our favorites. So let's do one that you were disappointed by, and then two who were your favorites. So the one you were disappointed by.
I'm going to go with Cyprus for the one I was disappointed by. There were some others that I thought were less strong, but this is the one that I had highest hopes for out of the ones that I thought were not very strong.
Okay. For me, I think the one I was most disappointed about was Ukraine. I really do not understand why you put that earthquake effect on the rap part. It was not necessary at all. I don't understand why you don't finish on the big rock. Like, that is such an epic visual. Like, even though the visual right now at the ending is also epic, I don't know, the rock looks so much better than what they have in the ending. I'm a little puzzled by what exactly they decided to do with that, basically. But I mean, it's still decent. Ones you were excited by?
So I think for me, I've got a pretty clear two favourites, which were Ireland and Croatia.
Okay.
I think Croatia for really maximising that concept, and I think really doing what was smart, which was allowing Baby Lasagna to grow into it. They were coming into this with someone who, to be honest, was very inexperienced. And they've maximised his natural charisma in a really smart way. This staging, he's comfortable in it. It allows him to express himself. A lot of this performance depends on him being able to harness that energy that we saw in the last 15 seconds of the national final. That pales in comparison to Ireland, though, which I thought was absolutely stunning. Like, rarely has a rehearsal had such an effect on me.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely blown away.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's exaggerating to say that this could win the semi-final. I think it's that good, and Irish fans should be really, really proud of this. It's 10 out of 10, no notes.
My second pick would be Slovenia, surprisingly. I really like what was going on, actually. And I know it was maybe one of the fewer ones, but I just think it's really effective how they picture Raven. Like, Raven looks really stunning. Like, you really capture the vibe of the song very effectively. The dances are quite nicely around it as well. But like you said, the one that really stood out was Ireland. Like, hands down, this is the moment of the show. Ireland just stole the show. Bambi looked incredible, and the entire it's like it's perfection.
Yeah.
Like the camera cuts are perfect. The idea is perfect. Like there's a storyline building in there. Even if you don't like this song, you will love the concept of it. You will love the art. You will appreciate it so much. So Irish fans, be very, very happy.
Yeah. And I think if there's one thing that's really clear is that we've seen, because Bambi has posted TikToks and so on, where they've sort of reflected on, saying when we're watching the rehearsal back and I see 100 things I want to change, 100 things that I don't like. I think it shows us this is the performance of somebody who has fretted and worried over every last detail, who has thought of everything, who has seen there is no detail too small to go and put 10 or 20 or 30 hours into refining and getting just right. Yeah. They clearly came with a vision that was really, really clear to SVT, to the production, and they've managed to execute it. You know, that incredible Swedish production and that incredible vision have come together so well to produce something absolutely stunning.
I definitely agree. And that's our analysis of this first semi-final. So leave your thoughts down below, because I think tonight the clips will be up. And let us know who were your favorites of this semi-final. And yeah, we hope to see you in the next video. So from us,
We'll see you soon.
goodbye.